Blog Talk Radio.
September 3rd, 2018. I'm your host, Scott Thomas Outler, and this is the debut episode of Songs of Selah. Thank you for joining us this evening. First of all, I'd like to say that we are now streaming live on Blog Talk Radio, and you are listening to the Diversity of the Mind's Blazing Heat radio station. I want to firstly say a huge thank you to the owners of the station, Diamond Diva Carolyn Ballard and DJ B1 the Chameleon Billy Ballard, who are not only the owners and have given me this opportunity, but they're also the host of their own shows on this network, and those can be found in the archives section of the Diversity of the Minds section here at Blog Talk Radio. If you're listening via the live stream link up above the slideshow where it says Diversity of the Minds Radio, there is a follow button there. And if you wouldn't mind, please give that a like and get in the loop for future shows. We would very much appreciate it. Songs of Selah has definitely been a while in the making. I first appeared as a guest on the Diamond Diva show a little over a year ago, and we had talked a bit at that time about the possibility of my becoming a host at some point. Well, here we are, and that time apparently is right now. We're diving in and going to see where the currents take us. I'm very thankful to be given this opportunity, and it's definitely my intention to try and put on a good, entertaining show anytime we take to the airwaves. We're going to talk on this show about life and love and order and chaos and war and peace and art and spirituality and health and nutrition and politics. Well, maybe not too much on that last front. This ain't CNN or Fox News, baby. I think we're all a little fed up with that at the moment. One topic and theme that we'll definitely be focusing on, especially here in the earlier shows, is going to be one near and dear to my heart, and that is poetry. With that in mind, I have an amazing first guest lined up that will be on here shortly to talk about his work and latest books, the great poet from Pennsylvania, Heath Brougher. He also happens to be a very good friend of mine, so I was able to call in this favor to him and have him join me here today so that he could be the guinea pig in this first episode so that I don't make too much of a fool of myself right from the jump. Here's hoping. I also want to encourage anyone who's listening out there, if you'd like to come on air with a question, suggestion, comment, or anything else that you have on your mind, do please call the show. That number is 319-527-6171. Again, that is 319-527-6171. Definitely want to hear your thoughts, and we'll do my best on this show and all those forthcoming to make this an open forum where dialogue and honest conversation between human beings can be free-flowing and as smooth as possible. Also, if there are any poets out there in the audience who are feeling the need to get some of their recent work off their chest tonight, you definitely found the right spot. Give me a ring, and we can make that happen here sometime in the next couple of hours while we're together. And, of course, if you have anything you'd like to bring up with Mr. Brougher when he appears, please call in at that time. And in so doing, you can help ease the weight off my new shoulders as an interviewer by carrying a bit of the weight yourself, and I would greatly appreciate that as well. All right. Cool. I guess I'm out of things to say at this point, so let's just listen to some dead air for a few minutes, right? Is that how this works? Not quite. I promise I won't fade that fast. Another aspect of the show will be having music tracks interspersed throughout. And with that in mind, let me mention what I should have done at the start, which is saying that the opening song was Waiting All Day by Silverchair off their album Young Modern. And now we're going to dive into the next track. This is Other Side by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I will do just that and see you on the other side.
How long will I slide or separate my side? I don't believe it's been slitting my throat. It's all I ever heard your voice through a photograph. I thought that I've been brought up the past. Once you know you can never go back, I gotta take it on the other side. The centuries are what it meant to me. A cemetery where I married the sea. The stranger things that never change my mind. I gotta take it on the other side. Take it on the other side. Take it on. Take it on. How long will I slide? Separate my side. I don't believe it's fair. Slitting my throat is all I ever. Pour my life into a paper cup. The ashes full and I'm spinning my guts. She wanna know, am I still a slut? I gotta take it on the other side. The skyline started and she's in my bed. A candidate for the soulmate bliss. Pulls the trigger and I pull the thread. I gotta take it on the other side. Take it on the other side. Take it on. Take it on. How long will I slide? Separate my side. I don't believe it's fair. Slitting my throat is all I ever. Cut me off, take me for a hard ride. Cut me out, leave me on the other side. I yell and tell her that it's not my friend. I tear her down, and then it's for again. How long will I slide? Separate my side. I don't believe it's fair. Slitting my throat is all I ever had. I don't believe it's fair. Slitting my throat is all I ever.
Alright, welcome back to the show, my friends. You are once again listening to Songs of Selah on Diversity of the Minds Radio. I'm your host, Scott Thomas Outler. I need to get used to saying that, so I might a few more times this evening. Bear with me, please, as I get in a groove, hopefully. I should have also mentioned this up front, but happy Labor Day to everyone. I hope you've been able to enjoy some time with family, friends, and loved ones in recent days. On a personal note, it's been a fun time for me because we just had the opening of college football season on Saturday with a resounding 45-0 victory for UGA. By the way, I'm broadcasting from the suburbs of Atlanta. Diversity of the Minds itself is run out of Houston, Texas. The wonders of modern technology, right? Right. Georgia football always brings many great memories to my mind through the years of games watched with my father, the joys and the agonies of defeat we experienced each season, the great conversations that we had after each game, keeping each other's minds balanced if things didn't quite go right. God rest his soul. He passed away a few years ago, the best man I have ever or will ever know. That is a fact. My grandfather, as well, shared in many of those memories with us. The late Jesse Outler, who was a writer and editor of the sports page for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution for 30 years. Many of those during my childhood years growing up. Thankfully, I'm still able to enjoy watching the games these days with my mother and my nieces and sister, and I know that my father's energy and presence and memory always remains with us and in our hearts anytime those games are going on, anytime in general. So that was Saturday. Then on Sunday was my birthday. I just turned 38 this year. And that's why I felt that this would be the appropriate time to launch the debut episode of Songs of Selah tonight and hopefully keep the good mojo running along at a steady clip. It's funny because many years ago I used to work at Brougher's bookstore. It was a fun job, a great environment, good people. I worked for several years there on the inventory team, and that crew would arrive about 4 hours before the store opened to shelve new merchandise and get the store ready for when customers came in. Well, we were also allowed access to any CDs sold in the store back during that time and could spend those first 4 hours rocking out to whatever we damn well pleased on the overhead audio system. Me and some of the other employees were usually the DJs in those instances, and one of the women that I worked with there would sometimes joke that I should be on the radio playing music. So being able to play songs tonight reminds me of that environment and just how interesting life can be sometimes 10 years, 15 years later as the cycles shift. She might actually be listening to this tonight. So Glenda, if you're out there, I'm sending you some good Borders vibes. Cheers. We have an interview with Heath Brougher just around the corner. That's on the way. We're going to talk to him about his newest release, The Ethnosphere's Duality, from Cyberwit Publishing. But first, while that Borders energy is being channeled, let's listen to another song. This one is Little Cream Soda by the White Stripes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
once again, my friends, to Songs of Selah. I'm Scott Thomas Outler. Coming up shortly, we have an interview with one of the great contemporary poets of our time, Mr. Heath Brougher. He's going to be talking about some of his latest releases, and we'll be reading a few of his pieces for us as well. All right. Full confession time. These first couple of segments, I did have a bit scripted out in my head, so I knew generally what I was going to say. At this point, things could go completely off the rails because I am winging it. So it's either going to be a lot of fun or I'm going to be a stuttering mess. We're going to shoot for the former and just let things fly because I'm sitting here in front of the switchboard speaking to no one and everyone and all in between, whatever that means. Let's get back on track. And I wanted to say just a few things about myself here in this first edition, but not too much. Just in general, I am a poet, an essayist. I run a website called 17numa.com, where anyone who'd like to find out more about my work can go and find links to all of my publications, interviews, live events, and links to my YouTube channel. Please also connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media networks that we know and love and would never dare censor anyone. Right on. So, I also have been writing a weekly poem for a website called Dissident Voice, which is a social justice newsletter operated out of Canada by Angie Tibbs. So I wanted to give a shout out to her at this time because she was the first editor to publish any of my poems back in 2014, and I've continued to be a weekly contributor on the Sunday poetry page there ever since. And I bring that up because what I thought I would do before we bring Heath Brougher on to talk about his work is read one of the first poems of his that I ever read, which also appeared at Dissident Voice. This is a piece that is also included in one of the books he released earlier this year through Weasel Press called To Burn in Torturous Algorithms, which is his first journey into spiralism, which is a topic that we'll be talking much more with him later. But I didn't tell him I was going to do this, so hopefully this is not one of the pieces he had prepared to read. If so, he has plenty of other brilliant work he can dive into. I'm going to read this. It's called Sarin Gas for the Soul by Heath Brougher. Human flesh and burning ventriloquist among the oxytocin addicts constantly popping out more life for death by natural selection. Smug glob and hungry for heroin, you bite into the not human flesh of maize apple skin. As I say, you'll always be in my hurt. With thrust throat you drink of the rubied Robitussin, the jagged humanity of shiny toy landmines, and the jar of immortality on the table next to the machine gun. Falling asleep you wonder, are there assault rifles in heaven? Waking unto the cleft, the cliff, two diverse energies flowing at a simultaneous constant. Human flesh spouts its patriotism, war's main catalyst, not counting religion, not seeing the filth of the future, instead raging against the rule-maker's dominance, where we swim through oceans of teeth and mansions of whores to pry the dagger from cold, dead hands. We eat not of terror pie, but of mint julep in the fiery nights, while the populace are forever spun by the spin doctors. Not a true thought abound, mangled by their smashed-mouthed words, for we know that life is rain or shine. All's quiet at the absent marketplace, the professional bridge burners down the road rigging explosives so the bridge will tumble downward, like falling elevators and flaming lemon drops. Vile cakes of human flesh, bullets and babies, big blood clouds on the horizon. Tomorrow tickets go on sale for the execution smack dab in America where everything is never enough. The rug never fully wrung dry. And oh, if only the rampant ribald of boroughs were here to see this, the scent of sound then thinking forward to the present, slouching toward taxia day by day, as the clock sucker engulfs more time, soon we'll have death guaranteed by American suffocation. 9 more years of winter. All the knives and molars in the world, the entire Heath, the vast wasteland, America run amok with cake suckers who waddle the sidewalks, cracking the cement, biting deeper into human flesh and thought, incessant phantomines of pensiveness, the reality of postmodern bleeding. We go suiciding as the tour guide shows us the kill yourself collection deep into the overtone of night, the scent of silence, nothingness, black as a hole. Not even stone flowers bloom in this kingdom of endless eclipse. The jet setters of white trash scalping tickets to the extinction. I find it funny this human flesh has bloated so much bore before it dies off. Crawl away looking for a teacup's worth of water in the Grand Canyon before our self-inflicted meteor hits, ripe with a dose of starvation, poisoning ourselves every day. What else can be done when the annual apathy awards become a daily thing? Ghost shadows acneed with acid scars scalp tickets to the extinction. Ravenous masses of potential buyers wave handfuls of money. Sarin Gas for the Soul by Heath, Brougher. I wanted to read that particular piece because it's a shining example of the wordsmithery, if that's a word, of Mr. Brougher and his alliteration and brilliant skills when it comes to poetry. Speaking of alliteration, a singer that puts that to good test is Maynard James Keenan, and when I asked Heath what song he would like to be introduced to, his answer was Tool, Anemia. So, we're going to play that, and then we're going to have him right around the corner. Thank you, friends. Stay tuned.
Some say we'll see Armageddon.
back live on Songs of Selah. That was Anima from Tool. I am your host, Scott Thomas Outler, and we are about to introduce the first guest to this show. His name is Heath Brougher. He lives in York, Pennsylvania. He's 38 years old and has been writing his entire life, but did not begin to submit his duffel bags filled with notebooks until the age of 34. Since then, his work has appeared in over 500 journals throughout the world. He is the co-poetry editor for Into the Void magazine, winner of the 2017 and 2018 Saboteur Award for Best Magazine. We'll definitely be talking about that. He is a multiple Pushcart Prize and Best of the Ned nominee. His work has been translated into Albanian, Afrikaans, French, Serbian, and several other languages. His latest books are To Burn and Torturous Algorithms from Weasel Press, and The Ethnosphere's Duality from Cyberwit Publishing, released on September 1st. And please welcome to the show my good friend, the great poet, Mr. Heath Brougher. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Scott. How are you?
Right on. Doing well, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me as a very first guest. And congrats on the show. It's so far it's been out of this world awesome.
Thanks, man. Well, yeah, like I've joked with you off air, there's no one else I'd rather pull along to be my guinea pig or lab rat here as we're
Yeah, I'm the lab rat.
Run through the maze.
Hey,
so,
hey, I'll do it. I'll run through the maze.
All right. There's some
I'll
cheese
find my
on the
way
other
out.
side.
Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna keep that cheese.
First of all, congratulations on the release of your most recent book, The Ethnosphere's Duality, that just came out 2 days ago, I think. So,
its official release date was July 1st was the official release date.
Okay, so last.
But yeah. But this book, I consider it, out of the 6 books I published, I consider it my favorite. It's only 38 pages long, and there's a Nietzsche quote at the beginning that kind of explains how this book is for me and others who think like me. It's not really meant for mainstream, and it's also definitely by far the most deeply philosophical book I've yet to write. I have 88 other books I need to type up yet, but
yeah, that's what I was mentioning in your bio there. Your duffel bags full of books.
Yeah.
Well,
working
I
on
think
17 of them.
touches on something right there. The search for truth in all of your work seems to be a key component that flows through it. Why do you think that is? Has that always been
definitely true,
ingrained in you?
Yes. It's just to me, it's hard for me to kind of relate to the rest of society. Really, I've always said that I truly believe society itself is insane, and
right.
I'm the outcast outsider. They think I'm insane. I think I'm much more sane than they are. But they're steeped in their man-made realities, and what's most depressing is they don't give really a second thought to this life we live, this kind of journey along with everyone else. I could never live a satisfying life doing that.
So what does that constant searching for truth and trying to find true individuality in a world that I guess is referred to as plastic by many, artificial, these constructs that we have to deal with, that takes a toll on the mind. I know, because I've tried that a little bit myself. I think that you're one of the most true individuals I've ever met. So I'm wondering, in your life, how that affected you and what that journey is like overall, of just constantly seeking individuality.
Well, in my early 20s, in my college days, I call them my extrovert days, where I, from age 18 to 20 were my kind of partying days, and then I kind of slowly took up. Around age 27, I deliberately took up a hermitage. I wanted to just cut myself off from society and just look inward. And that's what I did for a great many of years. Even at work, I worked for the post office for many years, and which I liked. I always had jobs that allowed me to be alone a lot of the time, and just think, and just being able to have that time to go back and just think about life in general. I was able to go back and kind of, I think, undo a lot of the shackles placed there by society. As you grow up, they're kind of placed upon you, and kind of undo those and free myself from them.
Shaking off those chains that society restricts us with. And so then when you're a free individual, I've seen you in action, that gives you the opportunity to really not give a damn what anyone thinks about you or what you might say or
but it also
do in
gives you
any
a chance
circumstance.
to try to I know I'm not going to make any kind of great impact in the world or anything, but I'm going to do everything I can to nudge. But in my opinion, just all of mankind is faced in the wrong direction, and I just want to do every little bit that I can to nudge it toward the other way. So it's facing somewhat toward some kind of semblance of sanity.
And perhaps, I guess, that sanity or the truth is found within us all. So if you're pointing people in the right direction, probably part of that is pointing them inward to discover who they truly are themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mentioned in the Clayton Eshall, a book that every poet should read. It's actually an essay. I think it's like 92 pages. It's titled Novices. If you're a poet, you need to read this book, Novices, by Clayton Eshelman. I don't have the spelling of his last name with me, or I would give it to you, but I know it's contained in one of his newer anthologies called Companion Spider, and that's where I got the term Massa Confusa, which is the self, and that's where all true art and thought, original thought, spring from.
I think a lot of artists that are out there listening to this right now will definitely agree with that and relate to it, resonate with that, finding that true voice within, and then being a reflection of that through your art. And so with this new book, The Ethnosphere's Duality, you say that's one of the ones that you're most proud of so far. Is that really diving deep into your own personal philosophy?
Yeah, much. I think more so than the other books, because the books, most of the poems are pretty short in this book, and it started out as a 92-page book. I narrowed down to 38 pages, but I was doing this weird inflection. I wrote these 92 poems over a 2-day period because I was doing this weird. I never thought I would write in such a way, doing this weird inflection sound, and some of it comes out just sounding like rhyming, but it was more of an inflection thing. But I ended up cutting almost all of that. There's probably 4 or 5 of the inflection poems in here, and although I'm pretty sure I know if I'm going to read, I know which poem you want to hear first. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have several other books. A Curmudgeon is Born, through Yellow Chair Press.
Yeah, that's the first.
Right.
Then there was Digging for Fire with Stay Weird and Keep Writing Press. Then there was Your Noisy Eyes by Stay Weird and Keep Writing Press. Then I edited an anthology called Luminous Echoes. That's one of my most proud moments, I think, because we sold out that entire thing. I'm in eternal debt to Tom Daly, an amazing poet from Boston. He set up this reading, and my editor at Into the Void magazine sent me what was left. We sold out every single copy of it, and all the proceeds went to Pieta House in Ireland, which is the only free service or clinic that people can go to who are feeling suicidal or feeling like they might cause themselves self-harm. So I was proud of that. And then fourth book, there were 2 versions of Your Noisy Eyes. Then Alien Buddha Press published About Consciousness. Then Weasel Press did To Burn in Torturous Algorithms, which is the first book of Spiralism. And now the newest one, that's The Ethnosphere's Duality by Cyberwit. And I can't thank them enough for how much work they put into getting this published and getting it out there. It's really amazing the extent to which they went.
Yeah, and with all those books, just want to mention to people, they can all be found on Amazon. Under
Amazon.
name.
Yeah, all but the second one. That was a limited edition thing. But all the others can be found on Amazon.
Okay,
just type in Heath Brougher books or poetry, they should come up.
Yeah, and with this new one, saw the trailer that Cyberwit
yeah, they
created
did
for it.
a nice trailer for me. I thought that was cool.
That video is available. You can go to Cyberwit on. I know they have a Facebook page for their publisher and your book. People should check that out. It's a really cool trailer.
Yeah, thank you. And once again, I said I can't thank them enough for all the stuff that they've done, and there's other stuff coming that they've done for this book that I'm eternally grateful to them as well.
So you touched on something there as well. You talked about the anthology that you had worked on, Luminous Echoes, that Into the Void put out. So you're not only a writer in your own right, but one of the poetry editors for Into the Void magazine. And
that's another one of my proudest things.
Endeavor.
Into the Void magazine. Yeah. Into the Void. After I was asked to judge a contest by Philip Elliott, and I didn't know him at the time. I feel like if I would have known him and he asked me to judge the contest, I would have said no, because I would have felt like there was kind of preferential treatment going on. But since I didn't know him and he said he liked my first book a lot, I said yes, and I judged this contest for him. And after the contest, after 3 days of pulling my hair out trying to figure out the top 6 out of all these poems I'd read, I finally came to the final conclusion. But just on a wing and a prayer, I was talking to him on Facebook one day on a wing and a prayer, said, we got so many great submissions here. It'd be really cool if we could do an anthology of them. And I waited there, saw him typing, and the first thing he said, that's a great idea. We should do that, and we can donate the proceeds to charity. And then, I had to pick 60 more poems. Then go back and find the 60, but 60 more poems, 60 next best poems. But no, as well, more than worth it.
That's cool. And then
because,
that's when you came on.
That anthology is going to save lives. Hopefully, it saved lives.
Well, yeah, you had mentioned earlier about wanting to point people in the right direction in this world and to have that search for truth.
Yeah, well, and I mean every cent of Luminous Echoes was donated to Pieta House, the anti-suicide place, the one and only free clinic in Ireland for people who are feeling suicidal, or like they might call themselves, self-harm.
That's certainly a great cause, and I would say that part of that search for truth that people should be on is having those types of charities in mind, and compassion and empathy for their fellow human beings, which is a lot of what poetry and art in general is meant to bring out. People's
especially yours too. Yours. I mean, you put me to sleep when it comes to your books and your the amount you put out. I mean, I can't hold a candle to you. That's why I agreed to be the lab rat.
Well, I think being published in 500 journals in 4 years is too shabby.
I can't say no to Scott Thomas Outler.
I would say that both of us have probably at this point realized what a time crunch submitting that much can be, and so I wonder, getting back to Into the Void and when you became poetry editor there, how that affected your writing on a personal level, and how do you manage your time looking over and reading other people's submissions and putting together Into the Void, which is an award-winning magazine, if you want to talk about
back-to-back
some of those contests.
Back-to-back Saboteur Awards, and it's nominated for this other award, the Broken Pencil Award. The winners will be announced September 22nd, I think. And but that's just something that it's just us 4 original editors for Philip, myself, and the other 2 editors. We probably should expand and get some other editors, because we get slammed with so many submissions. But I feel like I want to keep it just the four of us, just the core, because we keep kind of outdoing ourselves. After we did issue 4 and won the Saboteur Award for that, I remember someone saying, well, we're never going to top this one, but then we did with issue 5, and we keep doing it now. Issue 9 just came out. I think this is our best one yet. And it's like a roller coaster ride of constantly outdoing yourself. And then I'm not going to get off that. I don't care how many days in a row I have to stay awake. But during submission periods, it does definitely eats up a lot of my own personal time that I could be working on other things. I also want 37, 38 people book reviews that I need to write. My own
the
writing.
The list of favors grows always.
Once I started submitting and people kind of started to know who I was a little bit, that's when my own writing started to. I wasn't writing like right now. I've been getting back into more that rhythm of writing again. But for a while I was just really just like I have no time to write my own stuff. I've got to do all this, got to do this, got to do this, got to do this. I tried to make a list one time even, and so I started out the first 15 things, and then I realized, oh wait, no, I forgot about that. That should go at number 2. And then, oh wait, I forgot about this. This should go at number 4. And so a list is pointless. Pointless list.
Pointless list that I just wasted my time making this damn list, and now I've wasted more time.
Yeah, and I wasted more time making the list. I spent about 10 minutes making the list before I realized the futility of it.
The futility of lists as a microcosm of existential life.
Well, I have a list here that says, 1, thanks Scott for having you on, and 2, congratulate him for his show.
You've got the important things out of the way.
I have that. I just want to seem like a jerk and forget to thank you and congratulate you.
Well, it's like I mentioned earlier, I had written out a little bit of a script for the early part of this show because I didn't know what the hell I was getting myself into, and trying to run my mouth for 2 hours.
It's been great so far. So
I appreciate it, man. But Into the Void, you won the 2017 Saboteur Awards. You just won the 2018 Saboteur Awards, and then mention again this contest that is coming up in September, and if there's a way people vote for that, or how does they...
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think that it's voted on. There's different categories. We're in the category with 4 other. It's a zine. Basically, it's a zine fest, and Into the Void. We started out as a zine. Now we're more kind of a full-fledged magazine, which I think might hurt us a little bit. But win or lose, I've always said just being nominated for an award is winning it. Like with the Saboteur Award, there were some journals that got really mad, and I always said just being shortlisted for it is winning. There's no better journal than the others, don't really, need to have that, but it looks good on a bio,
Right.
Almighty bio. The almighty bio.
Credentials, credentials.
It's not good enough. Certain magazines won't even read your submission, which is sick. That's what Into the Void kind of stands against. We read every single submission we get, every poetry submission we get. I read every single poem, even if after the first one I can tell it's someone who's just starting out, who's doing rhyming and stuff. I'll still force myself to read it, every single one, because everyone gets a fair chance. I can't see any of their bio or their cover letter. I have no idea who they are. So I'm waiting for that one day when I finally pick someone who's never been published anywhere before, and I can just kind of pump my fist in the air and say yes, done it. I published a couple people who had only been published in a couple journals before, and I was proud of that. I tend to root for the underdog, I guess you could say.
That's definitely commendable. And how can anyone that's out there listening to this right now get in touch with Into the Void magazine through the website? I know it takes submittable, I believe.
Yeah, it's in submittable. The website itself is. 1 second. I'm pretty sure it's Into the Void magazine. Let's see. Let me get you the exact address. Should have this pulled up already.
Pull it up, and anybody can just put that in Google as well. Into the Void magazine.
It's intothevoidmagazine.com. Boom, you're there. And we've expanded online to have these really great. We're now doing book reviews, movie reviews, even online. Got Jim Traynor has this amazing column called The Course Grind that's about writing. That if you're any writer should be reading this. We got these other amazing editors, but right now I'm in the middle of taking submissions for issue 10. So if you have something that has some guts to it and some heart, send it in. You have just as good of a chance as some highly lauded poet who would normally get published over you in a millisecond. But if you got more guts and heart than his work does, then you're getting published. Doesn't matter, your background doesn't matter. It's about the work, and that's it.
Well, I think that's the general ethos that you and Philip have put into the Void that has set it apart and won all these awards so far, because you can tell the heart's there, the quality of the magazine is there, and I would just recommend for people that go to intothevoidmagazine.com and check out some of their past work. Order some of the journals, the past issues that have won these awards. See the quality of the magazine. Check out some of the new stuff they have online, and get familiar. This goes with any publication. Get familiar with the type of work they're publishing, and then send them some stuff your way. Yeah. Thank you for the plug. And just for everyone out there, I know I'm talking a lot, but Scott asked me to talk a lot because this is the first. He said talk as much as possible. So this is not a rerun of that first radio interview I did, where I just talked over the interviewer the whole time. I'm trying to talk as much as I can. Full disclosure here on air, folks. I did tell him to run his mouth because we still have an hour left to go in this show, and we're going to fill this time. We're going to put something into your ears that will hopefully keep you entertained. See, I'm already rambling, so I'll just turn it back over to you. What do you got, my friend? How about let's do this. You got any poems there? Maybe you want to read a couple of them to us?
Yeah, I was going to read the poem that you, the really short. I have 3 short little ditties, as I call them. The one I know you really like, and then I was going to read another one that was about a whole page after that. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first one's only 5 pages, 5 lines long.
Let them rip.
All right, I'll let it rip here. The first poem is from my first book, A Curmudgeon is Born, published by Yellow Chair Press. Title of the poem is Misperception. That oak tree is not really an oak tree. That oak tree is only an oak tree because you call it an oak tree. Maybe you should stop lying to yourself.
Right on.
The first one, and the second one is this was nominated for a Best of the Net award by some some moron. I can't remember his name. Oh wait, yeah, it was you. That's right. You at Wish, Walking and Still Honest curriculums. You nominated this. Trying to get a joke in there. That was a joke.
Don't
curriculum.
betray all this cronyism.
I know. I should have turned it down, but Heller Levinson said he liked it. That's the only reason I didn't turn it down. So here we go with curriculum. This is like 17 lines long. It's that. Most of my poems are pretty short. Curriculums. I am always in my way through life, turnstiling through these days made of illusion and lies. The hamster wheel spinneth eternal, fan rotation and so forth, until I unlatch from this loop to see that circular paths are false, for the truth lives within the spiral. To unsnag from the grindstone endlessly turning, one must disconnect oneself in order to stop this massively insane friction.
Right on.
Think of that.
You touched on spiralism there in that poem, and we'll talk about that more.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. I talked about the spiral. Yeah, the first book does have to do with spirals to a degree. I could read another short one that this one was kind of inspired by Ginsberg, I guess. I watched the movie version of How, where he reads the entire thing, but it was also a movie like in between it. It's more of a bellowing poem. I hope my voice is in the right voice tone for this, but this poem is titled 1,000 Miles Sublime. Let there be light so we can howl at the sun. Let there be warm, tendril-esque days upon which to kiss the flower petals strewn across the streets and yards like soft faint snow. Let there be blood flowing and rejuvenation and a rush of euphoria through the veins. Let there be moons so bright they cast shadows on midnight's grass. Let there be wine-soaked life blooming and gelling belligerence into the fully alive last bit of pure earthly air.
Right on, man. That's three good ones to start off with. And I'm looking at the switchboard here. We've got some callers online here that might want to get a word in. So
really,
go to.
For me?
Let's see what we've got here. Area code 443. Last digits 8105. You're on air with us. Who is this?
How y'all doing?
Good. Who's this we're talking to?
Good.
This is Alan Brett.
Hey. Alan.
How's it going?
All right.
Good talking to you guys.
Good friend. I never spoke to you at the same time.
Poetry's in good hands with you too. I'll tell you that right now.
Well,
you should hang out the rest of the show, man.
Yeah. So it's good to hear
you
you guys doing the thing. What's that?
Well, Alan, we appreciate you calling in. Now that we've got you on the line, do you happen to have any of your poems there beside you? Maybe read us something?
Yeah, you want to hear some real poetry, people?
Put you on the spot. Yeah, exactly.
This up a notch.
Well, I'll tell you what I
up a notch.
It's funny you said
one of the creators of immanentism, right here.
Immanentism, you got it. A little while ago, you were talking about having poems and taking a lot of time to type them up. And unfortunately, with our, some of us, our lifestyle, we don't really have 24/7 just to devote to our poetry. It would be great if we could, but we can't do that. So, but anyway, recently, within the past, so this is a new poem for me, even though I looked at the date down here. I said, I wrote that in July. I wrote it in July 2016. I just typed it up a week ago. So, but that's what happened. I was looking through the notebook, came across a like a vein, like in a gold mine, just a whole vein of poems. It was a whole bunch of them, so I just sat there all day and typed them up. Anyway, this is just one of them, and so I thought I'd share this one with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all,
Let's go ahead.
all our wonderful listeners out there. So this was called The Gospel. I say, I hear the gospel in every crucifix carved by a house finch, holed up in our carport suitcase destined for goodwill or the landfill, whichever comes first. I hear the gospel in the way a southwest wind coaxes Japanese maple branches from sedentary existence. I hear the gospel in the alchemical call of the crow. And I heard something else today, something I can't explain. So I wrote a poem. That's the gospel.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you.
You're very...
Joe.
What's that?
I said bring some class into this show and real poet, as Heath said earlier.
Yeah, get a real poet on here.
You already had some class going on in there. Good hearing you guys. It's nice hearing you here. I know, Keith or Heath, I know a little bit about your background, but it's nice to hear a lot of these details about how your books came to fruition.
I was dumb enough to wait till I was 34 years old to start typing up these duffel bags filled with notebooks. Keep finding new books, 88 so far, entire books, that need to be, that are books in entirety, and then tons and tons of notebooks just with random poetry and other philosophical writings in it. I'm currently typing up 17 of them at the same time. Try to get them out there.
But I'm just curious, if you don't mind me asking, when did you write your first book, or when did you first start writing poetry?
Ever since I can remember, I found a notebook it was back to second grade that has some drawings and some poetry and short stories in it. Second grade, so I mean, I guess ever since I learned how to read and write, I've just been going.
I think I was just learning the alphabet back then.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I think I was just starting to learn the alphabet in the second grade.
Yeah, well, so was I probably, because these poems were not good. Neither were one of my second grade poems. No, I don't have one of those. Don't worry, I won't put that on you.
Well, that's when we all toss the blocks into abstract order.
I lost my crayon.
Work on the experimental stuff.
My crayon today. Oh, despair.
Well, Alan, that's fortuitous that you called in. That's the first person I went to. I'm hoping to have you on the show again at some point to do a full interview.
Yeah,
I'll be on.
The guinea pig. I'm the guinea pig for the first show. You'll be on once Scott knows what he's doing. Better idea.
Yeah, I gotta test the waters with Heath first, so I don't make an ass of myself in front of you.
That's good. I'd be honored to do that, Scott.
Good deal.
Scott had to think. Who's more foolish than I am? I know. Heath. Get him as the first guest. No, I'd back Scott. Scott's a brilliant writer. I'd back him no matter what, for anything.
Well, that's one thing that people should know out there in the poetry world and just in general, that Heath's one of the most loyal people with the smallest ego of anyone I've ever met. And so that's another reason I wanted to have him on. Because in this world, it's hard to find people with integrity and honor. And so
yeah,
I've got two of them on the line right now, Alan and Heath.
Yeah.
So a good start for the show.
Yeah.
That's very kind of you.
Does
Alan,
Greg have one more poem for us?
Yeah, that'd be great if you have another poem.
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Do you have one more poem for it?
I've got 4,000 of them. but one if you're looking for one that's worth reading, that's a different matter here. Well, let's see. I'll read this one here. It's, of course, I haven't read it to anybody, and as a matter of fact, it's about a year and a half old. It also got typed up a week ago, but I don't know how to pronounce these guys' names. But if you guys, anybody out there, would Google these guys, I'm sure many people have. They're called dueling cellos. You ever heard of those guys?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
You should check it out. The video. The video is intense. These guys can play the cello, and boy, do they get down with it. It's
did you post that on your Facebook? Because I remember that's where I saw it.
Now, I was so impressed by listening to them. I love all kind of music, but anyway, these guys are really intense, and I can't, they I wouldn't. I'm going to destroy their names. Stefan Jauser and Luka Sulik. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but anyway. So obviously, again, this was written almost 2 years ago, and I'm sure I was listening to it, or I just listened to, probably went to YouTube and heard them, because I've done this more than once. Anyway. So this one's called Dueling Jellos. Yeah, there you go. Dueling Cellos. Trying to do a Bill Cosby thing with Jello.
Right.
Sorry about that. Anyway, it's called Dueling Cellos.
Yeah.
It goes like this. Like flint against every atom in the room, 2 cellos dipped in jasmine, 2 cellos with wasted vinegar, 2 cellos like rhinos, 2 cellos with wooden hearts flowing like lava, 2 cellos like long-stemmed crystal, 2 cellos sizzling magnesium onto the naked tubes of amplifiers, 2 cellos like knives of salt, 2 cellos like hummingbirds of nitroglycerin, 2 cellos like leather on bone, 2 cellos thump and groan, 2 cellos tapping every bone in the rib cage, 2 cellos like flying fish leaping over every bone in the rib cage, 2 cellos like gulls scouring midnight mascara, like a tidal wave flowing over every bone in the rib cage, 2 cellos that scatter the crystal dawn before gliding over terra firma through impeccable grooves carved into a 5th century bonsai tree, twisted and wrestling with marionette strings attached to 2 cellos, daring us to fall in love for the very last time.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely. Wonderful.
That's all done, man.
It's a work in progress. What can I tell you? But whatever. When the poems are newer for you, people always ask the same question: what's the poem you like the best? It's the one I'm working on now. Usually, that's what I hear people say. Anyway, it's got a ways to go, but there you go.
Right on. Well, Alan, since you're here joining us, is there a website that people can go and check out your work? Obviously, they can just Google Alan Britt, Britt. But do you have a personal website they can go straight to?
I'll tell you what, I do, but nothing's on it because I didn't know how to put stuff on it. That's the truth.
Okay.
Same thing.
One of these things,
I'm supposed to know.
I got to figure out how to download stuff to it, and I just haven't gotten to that point. It's on my list, Heath.
Yeah, which number? 75 or 5 or 2005?
It keeps getting moved down. What can I tell you?
Yeah, I know. More stuff keeps piling up. As the more work you get done, the more it piles up.
Yeah, exactly right.
My editor said the other day, he's afraid he's in so deep that he'll never get out of of this of what he's stuck under. And I thought, what if what if that's true with me? What if I never get out of this?
Well, what the hell do you always expect?
I told people
you start off a magazine called Into the Void. What the hell do you expect's going to happen?
Yeah, here I go into the void. But that's Philip who coined that term. Philip did the first 3 issues by himself, so I didn't come on till the 4th issue.
I will say this, if people go to 17 Numa, they could see a few things I've got posted on that site.
Yeah.
Got
your page leads to, like, everyone. That's what I mean. I should just tell people to go to 17 Numa if they want to look me up, because my website didn't work out, and I always just tell people to go to Facebook, Instagram. My phone's all backed up. Can't support Instagram anymore, so that I guess. Right when I'm starting to figure out how to use it. So be it.
Well, there's a lot of really good stuff on that site, Scott. You post stuff on there all the time, and it's got, besides just reading the work on there. I mean, you've got this listing of places for people to go to if they want to talk about poetry. I mean, that's worth its weight in gold. Trust me.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate place to look if you're looking for places to submit.
Well, yeah, I guess I will mention that real
better.
quick. For any poets out there or just writers in general that want to know what Alan and Heath are mentioning there, 17numa.com. You can go there. That's my personal website. There's a links page up at the top, and I think there's over 300 different journals and magazines and newspapers and broadsides and the independent zines out there. Anyone looking for places to submit or just to read some great work, go check out some of those links. Resource I try to make available there, and then you can also go to the blogs page, and that has links to individual writers, and Alan Britt's on there and Heath Brougher as well, so you can check out some of their work, access through there. Find them both on Facebook as well.
Yep.
That's why I direct people.
Yeah, I guess Facebook's the main central unit for all three of us, maybe, as far as if people want to connect. So.
Yeah, Facebook. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to call it the devil. I never thought I would be on there, and then.
Neither did I.
10 years later, and using it as my main resource nexus of communication.
That's how I promote anything that's been published or whatnot.
Into the void, into the beast.
Right.
The way it goes.
Yeah.
Well, I think about Facebook. I mean, we used to connect through mail, the post office, and that took forever. And unless you had the opportunity to meet people in person, which was really a rarity, quite frankly. And so now you have this instantaneous contact with people, which I think it has its upside. It has a downside too, but it's definitely got an upside. So
and I still like to brag that Alan Britt took me to lunch. So thank you for that.
You're quite welcome. We had a pretty good lunch.
You brought me all those amazing books. The first issue of Black Moon, right?
Yeah.
Your old journal, very first issue. I have that along my save, and because it may be worth lots of money later. Stuff.
It might be worth $5 one day.
Might be worth more.
Well, maybe we'll see.
I mean, there's so much money in this poetry game. I mean, it's astounding. I mean, who isn't rolling in the dough?
Yeah, that's why we get to
philosophy.
it.
Philosophy even better, man. That's where all the money is. That's where you got to go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's into the void.
That's where you end up, is in the void.
Yeah, that's what you end up. You'll be avoiding your wallet.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're all searching for truth, I reckon, one way or another.
That is that's the ultimate journey. I think that's where that this poetry adventure or road takes us all along, that searching ourselves and trying to identify with the world at large as best we can. And we're all just putting it out there as in our own ways. And for me, at least, it's meeting people like you two and all the other amazing artists and writers and music.
That's one good thing about Facebook. I never would have met you guys without it. And I've met a bunch of other amazing people with it. So, yeah, it does have its ups and its downs.
Double-edged sword in life.
Well, I teach poetry, and I get asked a lot about advice, how to do this and how to do that. There's no one way to do it in the first place. And the only advice I can think of, if you love doing it, then you do it. You do what you love to do. That's all. What else can you do? You love to do it, do it.
Yeah. That's how it is for me, yeah.
You do it the way you love it, too, as far as that goes. And if you want to change, fine. You change, you try some different things, see what works for you, and whatever.
Yeah, because on Facebook I get all these messages from people saying, "Can you read this poem and tell me how to edit it better?" And I'm like, you can write your own poem now. I used to actually try to help them. Now I'm just too busy. I say, you can write your own poem. It's good how it is. Just, write it yourself. I never asked anyone for help writing a poem.
Well, we get that when we read people. That's the other part of the advice is you have to read. I believe you just have as much as you can possibly get your hands on. That's all. See what works for you.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing that I've always I've talked about is we all have our influences in life and our heroes and our inspirations, and there's nothing new under the sun, as they say. Supposedly, and in a certain sense that's true, but then the influences that we have, it's like little dots on the wall, and we all have different influences and different ways of connecting those dots, and so that's where our true individuality comes from. It's just we're a hodgepodge of all past influences we have, and the unique way that we can put those together, maybe something original comes out of that, but you got to seek yourself and put your soul into it, and you will find your own voice. And like Alan just said, you just read, and study. Study the greats. Go read his books. Go buy his books. Go buy Heath's books.
Like very few poets I read nowadays give me like that feeling of inspiration to like go and write. And to the point where I'll put down the book and go start writing. But Alan Britt, your books do that to me. Like I'll be reading and think, I'll feel like inspiration that I kind of feel has dwindled over the years. Kind of conjures that up again. I've put your books down before and started writing, probably subconsciously writing in a style similar to yours, but. Nonetheless, it's, I'm writing.
That's a wonderful compliment. Thank you.
No problem. You're one of the few because there's not many that I'll literally put the book down and feel so inspired that I'll literally put the book down and start writing my own stuff.
What was you picked the book back up? That was my joke.
You're breaking up a little there, Alan.
I was just saying, I hope eventually you pick the book back up after you put it down.
No, I burn them. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't think that I've read every one of your books that I have. That's why you got to get more out there.
Yeah, well, I'm working on it. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
Well, let's speaking of this new book talking about, Heath, you just released yours 3 days ago, the Spheres Duality. Do you have anything from that new one that you want to read?
Like I said, most of these, and these are really short. I'll read one that I think maybe you and Alan might like. It's real short.
Okay.
Let's find it here quick. Page 20. Here, it's only 6 lines long. Don't worry. It's titled Simply Speaking. You are always glazing us with your thoughts. How kind of you. Though I'd rather you stop your mutated mumblings, rife with insanity, and instead speak the truth under my ears. It's my favorite song to hear the tonsils sprout. That's just
right on.
one of the little ditties.
Yeah, nice job.
Thank you.
And the Ethnospheres Duality from Cyberwit Publishing, they're out of India, and that book is available at their website or on Amazon. And
a bunch of other places that I can't even begin to list. There's a list of them I put on Facebook. But they really did a good job in getting with the trailer and getting the book in a bunch of different venues and places for that people can buy and look at and read books. So I'm grateful for that.
All right. Well, we've got about 30 minutes left in the show. I think
went back fast.
The first call that I've taken from Alan Britt. That's quite an honor.
That's got to be a good sign, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Got to be a good sign.
I want to thank Alan again for calling in.
We've
got a few other callers on the line. I'm going to try and get to them.
It's great listening to you as well.
And Alan, I hope to have you back on the show for a full episode here at some point in the future. Thank you for calling in. You're one of the greats. And it's an honor.
One of the top 3, I always say, living poets. So.
Well, thank you. I'm extremely honored. And anyway, I'm gonna sit here and listen to the rest of this.
All right.
Okay. Well,
thank you so much, Alan.
So much for gracing us.
Oh, you're welcome. Take care.
Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, so we're gonna go to one more song of the evening.
Alan Britt.
Oh man, unbelievable!
That's a good sign.
That's the way to debut a show, man.
Yeah.
I think so. I had one more song here for you, Heath. We'll play this one and then we'll come back. I've got a couple more people on the line that might have a question for you, but this is another one from Maynard James Keenan from A Perfect Circle. So long and thanks for all the fish. And then we will be back with Heath Brougher to read a few more of his poems before we sign off for the night. So enjoy, folks.
Time Bravissimo, hip hip, hooray! What a glorious display! Melt our joyous hearts away under the mushroom cloud confetti.
Thanks for All the Fish by A Perfect Circle off their most recent album, Eat the Elephant, which was only about 12 years in the making, I guess, or so. We're back on Songs of Selah with Heath Brougher. He's here talking about his latest book, The Ethnosphere's Duality. He also had another book that came out earlier in 2018 called To Burn in Torturous Algorithms, which was his opening salvo, if you will, into spiralism, which is the type of writing that he has coined. And so, Heath, thanks for being with us again. And I wanted to, I guess, in this last segment here, get into spiralism a little bit. And if you want to maybe say a few words about that subject.
It's something I've just been messing around with since I was 17 years old. Reading it doesn't really translate that well. It's best read on the page, but it's kind of poems just held together with. One day when I was 17, I was just messing around, writing, messing with words and and grammar and whatnot, and one of them just struck me, and I thought that, maybe try another one like that. And I had the first 3 books of it planned out in my head. I gave the least amount of thought to the very first book because I didn't know when I would be getting into all this. So, do you want me to read a poem from? Try to read one of these. That short one, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Short one, long one, whatever you want. But yeah, we've still got.
They kind of go all over the place. I'll read this one real quick. Called. There's a lot of word combinations that you're not going to see, and line spaces with lines with a space after them, and every poem ends with a semicolon as if it's not truly ending. But this poem is titled "Apple Picker's Disease." Night sickness is upon the weather. Early darkness blooms out, growing deeper night after night. Circular death irises continue to swoop and swirl in the wind as the barely alive, dried-up carcasses of severed, dead-veined leaves flit along the hard, solid ground of fall's predictable mutation into winter. Sundowns and nothingnnesses straight ahead. Pulled puppy teeth stain alabaster carpets with russet blotches. I knew, and I still know, of the emptiness of us all. Eventual bone, then sand and dust. The haunted hospitals, the general failings of quality. This is the downslope of a roller coaster. My head is lodged forever at the Broken Soul Inn. But I know what I know, and I know I am not Joseph Stalin or an iodine god.
All right. Nice. one thing about your poems. They always have that little punch at the end. Strong endings.
Yeah, that's what my mom said. I didn't mean to put a punch at that end. Yeah, not really.
So spiralism as a concept, how long has that been in your thought? What was the what was the genesis of
17
it?
is when I wrote the first one, and then I remember still being in high school, and I had the first 3 books kind of planned out in my head. Some of those poems I still haven't found, but this first book it wasn't, because since I didn't know when it was going to start, I didn't know, I kind of left the book open as to, whatever I have at the time, I'll kind of spiralize those poems. I wanted it to be the beginning of the spiral, but and that's caused me to have to change the second book a little bit. But the third book, I'm just going to keep the way I have it in my head. And that's one of the second book of spiralism is one of the 17 books I'm typing up right now.
Right.
So hopefully in the next couple of years.
Always more to do, and the further we go, the quicker it keeps coming at us. So it's but that's makes life exciting, at least, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's rewarding when it pays off.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I think it definitely paid off for you with To Burn and Torturous Algorithms, which was the book that you just read from, I believe, through Weasel Press.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Thank Weasel Patterson for accepting that and publishing that, and also Daniel Y. Harris for letting me use. As soon as I saw, I was just on his Facebook page, happened to see this image, and I thought, that's it. That's the perfect image for the first book of Spiralism. And he was kind enough to let me use that and another piece of his artwork on the back. And he's a critically acclaimed poet. He's known much more for his poetry than artwork. So I thought that was kind of a neat little gimmick or to my book. Cover it in some genius poet's artwork. That they're not really known for so much for their artwork as they are for their poetry.
Yeah, that book definitely came together well. The cover's amazing. Daniel Harris, he runs the site Xpri.
Xpri. Yeah, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that.
Check that out.
Yeah, most definitely.
So what you said you've got so many different things you're working on now. You've got Into the Void submissions going on for issue 10. You've got the new book. Do you have any upcoming live events that you'll be appearing at?
Well, other than in New York, you mean? Where's I invited? I don't know if there's going to be readings at this thing in Toronto that I'm going to or not. See how discombobulated I am with dates. I don't think I have anything big except possibly, and this is through you, possibly a chance to read in Italy at some point. And Matt Dugan next year wants me to read in Greece. So that's a year away. So
well,
I'm fine with that now. After all that long period of just hitting the road, I'm fine to just take a few months off here and just. You've seen me when I get off a plane. I just sweat when I travel. I'm just ball of sweat.
Well, that's blame it on the airlines is what I always say.
Yeah, the airlines fault every time.
You just mentioned that trip to Italy that we might be able to make, which just reminded me my friend Mickey that lives over there is opening up her cafe here on September 7th, I believe. But she had mentioned to me that her favorite book is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bront, and so the character Heathcliff is the main character in that, and so she had tasked me with asking you if your name was associated with that.
Oh, she wanted to be Heath.
If your parents had named you that because of that, and I will catch hell.
Should I change my middle name to Cliff? Would that make her happy? At least my middle name's Cliff.
Yeah, so I got that.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing that up, because I got that off my list, which is right here in front of me, and so I can say that I did my job in asking.
Yeah. Yeah, but as far as readings go, I want to tell the whole world my problems. I haven't been feeling that well lately. So I haven't really been looking into that, but I'm starting to feel better. So I'm gonna start trying to get more into that again.
Well, that's good, man, and I know
we
that we all
take and we can take down. We tend to take down Rome. We got to take that down.
Yeah, man, conquer Rome. That's pretty
conquer Rome.
High up there on the list of things to do. That's center of civilization. Let's go run with the bulls. but like you were saying, man, not feeling good.
I would do that. I would do that because I think they have universal health care there. So if I do get trampled, hey, it's free. all the free opiates in the world.
They'll wrap you up in
a morphine, doctor. Here, just pour it in. Pour it in the tube. More morphine, please.
Well, yeah.
But it's been great doing the show with you, and I think the show's going to be a huge success. Not to knock on wood, but I love that Alan picked out of all the numbers you could have picked. Alan picked. That's definitely a sign. Got to be a sign.
Well, that was a great honor to have Alan Britt call in.
Yeah, most definitely.
Probably my favorite poet on earth.
Yeah, I'd say he's one of the 3 greatest living poets on the face of the earth, in my opinion.
In the new generation up-and-comers, you're one of the great poets as well. So to have those 2 people here on the first episode
you're a big creator, though. I'd have to say. But my stuff can get
we're all just doing what we can.
A little bit weird and out there at times.
It's because I'm a simple man. You're more experimental. Actually put some effort into experimentation and abstraction. So we all have our.
I remember the time I forced you to. We each wrote a line of an experimental poem. I still have that stashed away somewhere. I could spring on the populace and embarrass the hell out of you.
Well,
I won't do it.
Speaking of projects or future projects, I think maybe we should mention that maybe something in the works, a 3-way book.
I didn't know if you were going to mention that or not.
Yeah, I thought I might as well bring it up here at the end. Yourself, Don Biaquez, a poet over in France, who's a friend of both of ours. He's probably over in Spain right now and not listening to this, so enjoy your wine over there, Don. And we'll forgive you this time. But and then me, we're looking to probably do a 3-way split on a book and find a publisher for that maybe before the end of the year, maybe early next year, with all our different projects going on. But I think that's something that
because I keep growing new books out of I'm trying to put together a full-length book, and that's how Atmosphere kind of grew out of that. And then I'm at right now a new book's kind of growing out of it again, and so I'm having to start like a new book now. It just continues. But as far as the book, with the 3 of us, it might happen. I already pretty much know the poems I want to use for that, so that shouldn't be a problem. Well,
that's going to be one I'm really looking forward to. I've been focusing on some poems for that too recently. Starting to get things in line for whenever that might come about. I know we're all busy with a million different things on our list, but when that does come together, I think it's going to be pretty cool. And
something like that. We definitely need to do it at some point when we have the time. They need to add on more time to the day. Each day should be 47 hours. Maybe then we could catch up.
This is coming from a man who stays up days at a time already. And takes his fist at the sun or moon, whatever might be out there.
And then sleep 8 hours when it's really intense with this submissions coming in and whatnot. But human beings really only need to sleep about 8 hours once every 3 days, because it takes a while. It's tiring to get there, but once you're there, it just feels normal. You can build up a tolerance to sleep deprivation. But
there you go, folks. You heard it first here on Songs of Selah. That is new, modern
I'm
stuff.
telling you, 8 hours of sleep a night, that's wasting your life.
He has cracked the code.
I've cracked the code.
So I'm gonna encourage everyone to stay up all night until the sun rises, at least.
This will take a while. The first couple times you will be sleepy, but after that, you'll get into the rhythm of it.
So, and that is also where some wild poetry can come. Sleep deprivation. I'm not a medical doctor.
Yeah.
This is not health advice, but do what thou wilt.
Because doctors want us sleeping, so we don't have extra time to think about things. They want us to sleep, doped up, useful idiots. That's what they want.
All right, man. So we're running down. We got about 8 minutes left in the show. Time does fly. I want to thank you again for being on and
thank you so much for having me. Congrats on the show. This show's going to be awesome. I love the music. I can't wait to listen to your Brit, show you do with him, because that's going to be awesome. But I'm already hooked. I'll be tuning in every week. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it, and definitely looking forward to doing a show with Alan. That's going to be amazing. And, do you have maybe one or two more poems you want to hit the audience with here before we
sign off?
find two shorter poems to read here, possibly. Three of the poems in the my new book aren't really like poems; they're more just kind of philosophical rants. And this quote unquote poem is titled "Building Gods." We are spilt onto this canvas for reasons of which we do not know. That is, if there even is a reason in the first place. Our ancestors created creation by conjuring gods and inventing an interpretation of existence based on their limited knowledge of nature, coupled with imagination. These false focal points have led humanity away from the true universal realities that existed long before mankind achieved its current state of sentience, and ignored the already existing existence into which they were born, thus causing a flawed understanding of the natural world which manifest and carved itself into the bones and wombs of false man-made societal consciousness of the oncoming century.
Dig it.
That's one. Here's the last one I read. It's a short one. This is the one that was nominated for a pushcart thing, one of those silly awards. It's titled "A Letter to Mirrorism." Dear Mirrorism, of the learned, man-made, rectangular world of monotony, sneezed into the brain by infectious props of biased proclivity, commercial after commercial, billboard after billboard, teacher after insane teacher. You best be on the lookout. I've been thinking and have discovered how to shake these shackles. I've been swirling upon spirals outward into the great fathomlessness ever since. Sincerely, one of your former slaves.
That's a great one to end on. Swirling with the spiral ever outward. That's I think that epitomizes the heart of your work.
Let's just all do that.
Just keep spiraling outward, seeking truth. I think that's the message that you bring to the masses.
Yes, you're helping to bring it to the masses. Go, my friend. Go.
We're both journeying forth with swords in hands, trying to use poetry as the weapon of choice. I just want to thank you again for being here on the first episode.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough.
Had a great time.
I had a great time too. Alan Britt pops in. That's always a good time.
Hell yeah, man.
And the music, great. Keep it up.
Couldn't ask for any more, and I hope that you'll come back on future episodes and read some more poetry for the people.
Call me. Facebook me, whatever.
Right on, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough.
All right, that's Heath Brougher, ladies and gentlemen. One of the great poets of our time. Take care, my friend.
Thank you. Take care. Thanks.
So that's going to bring us down to the close of this first episode. I want to encourage everyone to go pick up Heath Brougher's books, that is, on Amazon. Just Google his name. You can find him on Facebook. And it was a pleasure having him on tonight, a pleasure hearing from Alan Britt. Thank you for calling in as well. And we're going to close down the last 3 minutes here with a quick song from Harvey Danger. This is What You Live By. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please join us next week. Selah.
Box of wine and $100 car. Let's talk about the lives we've led and count the reasons we're not dead. Or maybe we could talk instead about the ways in which we are. Always nothing or too much to say. Only so many sides of a record to play. And the song that got stuck in my head said, you die by what you live by. You will die by what you live by. You will die by what you live by. Every time. Like carnivore to carnal pleasure,